What if everything you have built your life around could shift overnight? Not because of a storm or a flood, but because your wallet can't keep up anymore. Across America, prices climb higher each week. Electricity bills spike, groceries double in cost, and supply chains stretch so thin that even small disruptions lead to empty shelves. When finances are already tight, these cracks in the system turn into full-blown crises. For retirees living on fixed income or families juggling the needs of 5 or 6 mouths on a limited budget, there's no cushion to absorb the shock. One blackout, one delivery delay, and suddenly the safety net is gone. Yet preparation doesn't have to mean thousands of dollars in fancy equipment. In fact, the most effective lifelines are often the cheapest ones, items hiding in plain sight at your local dollar store. In this guide, we'll uncover 15 budget-friendly essentials, each just $1 or $2, that protect your home, your health, and your sanity when money is tight and systems fail. They're not luxuries, they're survival tools for ordinary people facing extraordinary challenges. And the best part? You can start today without going broke. Item 1, shelf-stable food, the $1 meals that could keep you alive. When prices climb and power grids falter, food is always the first worry. Refrigerators fail without electricity, and grocery shelves can clear in less than 3 days. That's why shelf-stable food from the dollar store is one of the smartest, cheapest protections you can have. Canned chili, beans, soups, powdered milk, and granola bars may not feel exciting, but they deliver calories that keep you steady in an emergency. These items don't spoil quickly, they need no refrigeration, and most cost little more than $1. At Dollar Tree, Aldi, or even the discount aisles of Walmart and Sam's Club, you can find canned goods for $1 and $1.25, boxed pasta for under $2, and powdered milk packets for about the same. Retirees on fixed income can add a couple of cans each week without straining the budget. Families buying in bulk can stretch those dollars even further. When trucks stop running, even a small stash can stretch days into weeks of stability. Survival doesn't require $300 freeze-dried kits. It starts with ordinary foods, bought cheap, stored smart, and ready when you need them most. Item 2, trash bags and zip bags, your first line of defense against disease. When disaster hits, food and water aren't the only problems. Sanitation collapses just as fast. Without running water or trash pickup, piles of waste turn dangerous within days. That's where something as cheap as heavy-duty trash bags and zip bags becomes a survival essential. For just $1 or $2 a box at Dollar Tree, Walmart, or Aldi, you can grab supplies that handle dozens of emergencies. Line a bucket with a trash bag to use as a temporary toilet. Seal spoiled food before insects and bacteria spread. Use gallon-sized zip bags to store clean drinking water, protect medications, or keep documents dry. Even a rain poncho can be improvised from a large bag in minutes. After Hurricane Ian, thousands of emergency cases weren't from injuries. They were from poor waste control. The CDC notes sanitation-related illnesses spike dramatically after disasters. Having a $2 box of bags on hand can literally protect your health, your home, and your dignity. And once you've handled sanitation, the next challenge is just as urgent. How do you bring back light and warmth when the world around you goes dark? Item 3, candles and fire starters. Light when the world goes dark. When the power grid fails, darkness sets in faster than most people expect. No street lights, no glow from the fridge, not even the small comfort of your phone once its battery dies. That's when a single flame can restore calm, and you don't need to spend much to get it. At Dollar Tree, Aldi, or the bargain section of Walmart, glass prayer candles and packs of matches sell for $1 tours. These candles can burn steadily for 45 hours, giving you reliable light through long nights. Matches and cheap lighters mean you can boil water, cook food, or even sterilize small wounds when modern conveniences disappear. According to FEMA surveys, fewer than half of American households have reliable fire-starting tools in their emergency kits. That leaves millions vulnerable during blackouts. But a few dollars invested now ensures you have light, warmth, and the ability to prepare hot meals when it matters most. Darkness can be frightening, but it's manageable. The greater danger comes from injuries when help is far away, and that's where your next must-have item becomes critical. Item 4, First Aid Basics. Dollar store supplies that save lives. Emergencies don't wait for ambulances. Roads can flood, hospitals overflow, and in those first critical minutes, you're the only responder. That's why a small first aid stash from the dollar store can become priceless. For $1 or $2 each at Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, or even Walmart's clearance bins, you can stock antiseptic wipes, gauze pads, medical tape, gloves, and basic pain relievers. None of it looks fancy, but in a crisis, it buys time. Treating a wound within the first 5 minutes can raise survival odds above 80%. Wait too long, and the risk of infection skyrockets. FEMA recommends every home have a kit, yet surveys show fewer than half of U.S. households do. For retirees on fixed income or families already stretched thin, a $10 starter kit from the dollar store covers the essentials without draining the budget. You can't predict every accident, but you can control how prepared you are. And when something breaks, whether it's gear, clothing, or even your shelter, the cheapest fix may come from another aisle just down the store. Item 5, duct tape and superglue. Your emergency repair kit. Survival often depends on how quickly you can fix what's broken. A window shattered in a storm, a torn shoe while evacuating, or a leaky pipe during a freeze. Without tools, small problems spiral fast. That's why duct tape and superglue, each found for $1 or $2 at Dollar Tree, Walmart, or Aldi, belong in every home. Duct tape can patch a ripped tarp, seal a cracked food container, or even splint an injured arm until medical help arrives. Superglue, while simple, has surprising uses, sealing minor cuts, reinforcing broken gear, or stopping a leak in seconds. Emergency guides from FEMA even list duct tape as a core supply for sheltering in place. Preppers on online forums list dozens of real-world saves thanks to these items, from repairing tents in storms to securing broken car parts long enough to get home. For just a few dollars, you can create an instant repair kit that prevents small emergencies from turning into disasters. And once repairs are handled, another challenge rises: clean, safe water. Without it, survival stops at just 3 days. Item 6, water storage jugs and purification tablets. Your lifeline in a crisis, water isn't optional. The human body can last weeks without food, but only days without safe drinking water. When storms shut down, treatment plants or grocery shelves are stripped bare. Even a single gallon becomes priceless. That's why cheap storage jugs and purification solutions are essentials. At Walmart, Aldi, or Dollar Tree, you can find 1-gallon jugs and water containers for about $1 each. Add in basic water purification tablets, often sold in discount camping sections for a couple of dollars more, and suddenly you have peace of mind. Store a few gallons in the pantry, rotate them every few months, and you've built an affordable safety buffer. Disaster reports from FEMA confirm that clean water is the very first supply to disappear during emergencies. Families who plan ahead avoid long lines at relief stations and the inflated prices that always follow shortages. For retirees on fixed income, this isn't about stockpiling endlessly. It's about building a cushion one jug at a time. Because once food is secure and water is safe, you'll quickly discover another silent problem. How do you open all those cans when the power is out? Item 7, manual can opener. The tool you'll miss the most without power. Imagine stocking up on canned beans, soups, and chili, only to realize in a blackout you can't open a single one. It sounds trivial, but in a crisis, frustration over something so small can quickly turn into desperation. That's why a manual can opener is one of the most overlooked survival tools. For just $1 at Dollar Tree, Walmart, or Aldi, you can grab a simple hand crank opener that works without batteries or electricity. Unlike electric openers, these never fail when the grid is down. Many families who lived through hurricanes or the Texas freeze reported that the only tool they wished they had was exactly this. It's not just about food either. Pet owners, caregivers, and large families all rely heavily on canned goods. Without a way to open them, your carefully built stockpile is useless. Spending a single dollar now saves you from hunger and stress later. Once you've got your food ready to eat, the next step is keeping your body safe from the elements, because cold and rain can be just as deadly as an empty stomach. Item 8, emergency blankets and ponchos. Staying warm, like I say, warm, staying dry, cold and wet conditions can be just as dangerous as hunger. Hypothermia doesn't only strike in the wilderness. It happens in living rooms during winter blackouts or in shelters after storms. That's where emergency blankets and ponchos, often sold for $1 or $2 at Walmart, Dollar Tree, or discount outdoor aisles, prove their worth. Thin mylar blankets reflect up to 90% of body heat, keeping you warm even when the temperature drops. Lightweight rain ponchos prevent clothes from soaking through, which is critical when clean, dry laundry isn't an option. Families with children or elderly members benefit most. Staying warm and dry can be the difference between comfort and a trip to the ER. These items fold small, store easily, and never expire. Relief workers in FEMA consistently recommend them as part of every emergency kit, yet most households overlook them until it's too late. Because once you've secured warmth and shelter, another question arises. How do you stay connected and informed when the grid and cell towers fail? Item 9, battery packs and cheap radios, keeping you connected. In every disaster, information is survival. When the grid is down and cell towers fail, you can't rely on smartphones. That's when a simple battery pack or a small handheld radio from the dollar aisle becomes a lifeline. At Walmart, Dollar General, or even Family Dollar, you can often find basic radios for $5 or less and portable battery packs for $2 or $3. They may not stream music or videos, but they'll give you weather alerts, emergency updates, and enough backup power to keep a phone alive for critical calls. During hurricanes and wildfires, families who had radios were able to hear evacuation orders while others stayed in the dark. Retirees on fixed income especially benefit because missing a single medical update or storm warning can be costly. Even students living alone gain peace of mind knowing they can reach help if needed. Preparedness isn't just about food and water. It's about staying aware and connected. And when you step outside to face the aftermath, another low-cost essential becomes just as important: protecting your own two hands. Item 10, multi-purpose gloves and work gear. Safety for your hands. When disaster strikes, one of the first tools you'll rely on is your own hands. Clearing broken glass, moving debris, or even handling makeshift repairs can quickly lead to cuts and injuries. That's why a sturdy pair of gloves, something you can grab for $1 or $3 at Dollar Tree, Walmart, or Aldi, isn't just handy, it's protection. Work gloves shield against sharp edges, while disposable latex or nitrile gloves keep germs at bay when dealing with trash or first aid. Families often forget how much cleanup follows floods or storms. Without gloves, even a small scrape can become infected, especially when sanitation systems are down. Inexpensive safety goggles and dust masks, often sold in the same aisles, add an extra layer of defense. They might look basic, but they give retirees, large families, and anyone on a budget the chance to work safely when professional help is far away. Protecting your body is step 1. Step 2, making sure you have quick shelter when your roof or windows can't keep the weather out. Item 11, plastic tarp and shower curtains. Shelter on a budget. A damaged roof, a shattered window, or even a leaking ceiling can turn your home unlivable in hours. But with something as cheap as a plastic tarp or even a dollar store shower curtain, you can create emergency shelter fast. For $1 at Dollar Tree, Walmart, or discount hardware aisles, plastic sheets give you a waterproof barrier against rain and wind. They can cover broken windows, seal drafty doors, or even serve as temporary roofing until repairs arrive. In outdoor situations, they double as ground covers, rain catchers, or makeshift tents. FEMA often lists tarps as one of the first items distributed after hurricanes because exposure to the elements can be life-threatening. For families on fixed incomes, having a few stored away is an affordable safeguard against weather damage. But a tarp alone isn't enough. You need something strong to hold it in place. That's where cords and ropes step in as your next budget-friendly survival tool. Item 12, rope, paracord, and bungee variants. Shelter, security, survival. When things fall apart, the ability to tie, secure, and fasten becomes invaluable. Rope, paracord, and bungee cords, often sold for $1 or $3 at Walmart, Dollar Tree, or Aldi, are lightweight, versatile, and endlessly useful. A few feet of cord can secure a tarp over a broken roof, tie down supplies in the back of a car, or hang wet clothes to dry. Paracord is strong enough to act as an emergency tourniquet or to suspend food high away from animals. Bungees, meanwhile, make quick work of holding doors shut or stabilizing loose items during a storm. Survival instructors rank cordage in the top 5 most essential tools for emergencies, yet most households overlook it. For retirees and families with limited income, stocking up is easy. These items are cheap, durable, and never expire. And once shelter and gear are secured, the next challenge is basic but unavoidable. How do you eat, drink, and cook when your kitchen isn't an option? Item 13, disposable utensils and foil, eating and cooking made simple. In a crisis, clean dishes and working stoves can't be taken for granted. Water may be scarce, and washing plates or pans could waste what little you have. That's when disposable utensils, paper plates, and aluminum foil become quiet lifesavers. At Dollar Tree, Aldi, or Walmart's value aisles, you can pick up packs of plastic forks, spoons, paper plates, and foil for $1, $2. Foil in particular is a survival multi-tool. Wrap food to cook over an open flame, line pots to make cleanup easy, or fold it into makeshift containers. Disposable cups and plates prevent the spread of germs when sanitation is limited. During storms and blackouts, families often discover that eating becomes the hardest task once the sink and stove are out of commission. Having a stash of cheap disposables keeps everyone fed without wasting precious water or fuel. But once meals are handled, another silent threat emerges: disease. And that's where your next low-cost essentials make all the difference. Item 14, cleaning supplies, stopping disease before it spreads. Disasters don't just knock out power and food supplies, they also create perfect conditions for illness. When trash piles up and water becomes unsafe, even a minor infection can spiral. That's why simple cleaning supplies are survival tools, not luxuries. At Dollar Tree, Aldi, or Walmart, you can grab bleach, vinegar, disinfectant wipes, or basic soap for $1 each. A single small bottle of bleach can purify gallons of water when diluted properly. Vinegar works as a natural cleaner and disinfectant. Wipes and cheap sprays stop bacteria from spreading across limited living space. Health officials warn that after hurricanes or floods, more people fall ill from sanitation-related diseases than from the initial disaster itself. For retirees or families living on fixed budgets, a forward investment in cleaning supplies provides weeks of protection and peace of mind. And while keeping the body healthy is critical, there's another part of survival people often forget: the mind. That's where the final item on this list comes in. Item 15, games, books, and activities. Mental survival for families. Survival isn't only about food, water, or shelter. It's about keeping morale intact when days stretch into weeks of uncertainty. Boredom, stress, and fear can erode decision-making just as quickly as hunger. That's why simple entertainment, cards, puzzle books, coloring supplies, are hidden essentials. Dollar Tree, Walmart, and Aldi often sell decks of cards, crossword books, crayons, and coloring pads for $1, $2. These low-cost items give families something to focus on during blackouts, especially for children who may not understand the crisis. Even for seniors, reading a book or working through puzzles can lower stress and restore a sense of normalcy. A 2023 study in disaster psychology showed non-digital activities reduce stress hormones by nearly 40% and improve cooperation within families. That means a $1 pack of cards could prevent panic, arguments, and poor decisions. Because when everything else feels unstable, keeping your mind busy helps you stay resilient. And now that we've covered 15 simple, affordable items, it's time to bring it all together with one final message. Most people imagine prepping as expensive bunkers, gas masks, and high-tech gear. But the truth is far simpler and far cheaper. You've just seen 15 ordinary items, each costing just $1 or $3 at places like Dollar Tree, Aldi, Walmart, or Sam's. Together, they form a survival kit strong enough to carry retirees on fixed incomes, large families, and even students living paycheck to paycheck through blackouts, shortages, and price spikes. These aren't luxuries, they're lifelines. A can of chili, a roll of duct tape, a box of trash bags, a flashlight, or even a simple deck of cards. Each one becomes priceless when shelves are empty and help is days away. Building a safety net doesn't mean spending thousands. It means adding small, smart purchases before trouble strikes. So the question is, how many of these 15 essentials are already in your home? If you're missing a few, the best time to grab them is now, while they're still cheap and available. If this breakdown was useful, do me a favor. Like this video, share it with someone you care about. Subscribe so you never miss another tip that could make all the difference. Because when financial stress tightens and systems fail, knowledge and preparation become the most valuable currency you can own.